Good afternoon, everyone. It is January 7th, 2020. This video, I'm going to talk to you about who you know, or actually, let me rephrase that, why you should not join a large militia, why you should stick with small groups, because who you know could either help you or harm you. So let's get started. Out there in the United States, there's these individuals called confidential informants. And I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people will say, well, I can smell a snitch a mile away, but if they're good at their job, if they're good at what they're doing, they're going to get overlooked, especially if they embed themselves in your life for months, years, and so on. I know this firsthand, okay? And I'm going to get to all this. So, as most of you know, at least anyone who's been with me for any period of time, you know I've been busted for slanging weed. And it turns out, and you're gonna really be surprised by this, two of my best friends, Jonathan and James Davis from Spartanburg, South Carolina, are professional confidential informants. The third, and by the way, Jonathan was not the one that signed the court papers on me. It was James Davis who did this, and some other guy named Mike, which I don't know Mike's name. He was kind of new to our little group. This is the first time I've had this problem. And as a result of figuring this out, I've become somewhat hermit-like, okay? I don't really go out in public too much. And getting me to go to, say, Walmart or, a place where there's a bunch of people, you're going to have a very hard time getting me to do this. Unless you're my wife and we're going to a family get-together of some sort. So, if you were to join a militia or form one, you would have the very real possibility, the likelihood, in fact, that you would be infiltrated by one of these confidential informants. Now, from what I understand, it went something like this. A subscriber named Gustav, and by the way, I could have been slanging weed. I slanged weed for 10 years, and I had no problems. None, okay? Nobody bothered me. Cops didn't bother me. They probably didn't know. But that's not the reason people get busted. It's not the sales of drugs that get people busted. It's the gaining and use of power. That's what gets people busted. When you're working towards a goal that would make your group more powerful than, let's say, your local police force, they will be alarmed by this. And then they will get their assets, confidential informants, out there working on you. The drug thing is just a means to an end. They really don't give a shit about the drugs. They care about the accumulated power. And I notice this pattern because I've been busted before. And every time it's when I've gotten a large group of people behind me. At the time, I was trying to get people to form a network, starting in their county, the state, you know, and then connecting with everybody else. We had a individual in the center of the country who had a large warehouse to store goods like rice and clothes and food, clothes, anything you could think of a person might need, or a large group of people rather might need in a SHTF type situation. And we got pretty far into the planning. A couple of the people that still comment to this day were involved. So I'm sure they will say, yeah, that's what was going on. But this subscriber named Gustav, he took it upon himself to alert my local sheriff's department that I was trying to form an anti-police, anti-government militia. Which is true. I was. But that's what got them looking at me. Then they did a search to see if any of their people, their confidential informants, knew who I was. And a couple of them did. A couple of them had been a friend of mine for 3-4 years at that point, maybe even more. Saw them every day. Smoked ungodly amounts of weed with them. Both of them, really. So, confidential informants, even if you're not doing anything wrong, they are a threat to you. And how it starts off is they'll get busted. And then the department and the prosecuting attorney sometimes gets involved and says, hey, we won't even file these charges on you if you work for us. If you take this person down, the charges will never get filed. We'll forget about it. And so they do their job, and then the police say, hey, you're pretty good at that. You're pretty good. You didn't show any kind of hesitation or fear or any of that stuff. Nervousness. We can pay you to find people to bust. And they do. A lot of them end up doing just that. They get paid to find people for the police to arrest for narcotics or whatever else. But most of the time, it's about the accumulation of power. In Michigan, I got pretty powerful. I called a lot of shots. I mean, I'm not bragging, okay, but I did. And who I knew up there benefited me. I was going to college with a Mexican fellow who wasn't very good at his papers, writing for business and whatnot. But I was. So me and him paired together in class, and I helped him out. And one thing led to another. I figured out what he was doing. It wasn't hard. And I told him, I want in. I can move tons of fucking weed. I want in. And so, um, knowing that person benefited me greatly, whereas knowing Jonathan and James um, got me wrapped up with a court case. I've always been exceedingly good at getting myself out of trouble. I don't know why, I don't know how. I don't even know if it's me. It could be the notion that I am related to some of these elitist families. Closely related. Not distant relatives, closely related. And I would guess that if I were to subscribe to their way of thinking, I would probably be a whole lot better off than I am now. I don't think I haven't considered just that, but there's no replacing your soul. Whatever damage is done to you, it's done to your soul too. Whatever ugliness you do, for whatever reason, whether you're a child molester or the child being molested, that damages your soul in both ways. And you have to carry that shit to the afterlife. You will answer for these things. I know this. You are not your body. This body is a machine, a biological machine. Unfortunately, not a perfect one. So you're not your body, and when you die, whatever you do to people, and I'm not religious, you know this. You know I'm not a Christian. You know I'm not a Muslim or a Hindu or any of that shit. You know this. But I know that something happens to you after you die. And I'm not talking about your body. I'm talking about your soul. I know this. And them fucking doctors, they can say whatever they want. They can say it's a DMT injecting into your, and all that crap. I've listened to it and read it all. I'm a lot more well-read than most of you might think. Just because you don't see a library behind me doesn't mean I haven't spent considerable time studying things like psychology, business, government. And I have a high degree of comprehension as well. So I understand. And I can tell you, something happens to you after you die. And there's a lot of theories. For example, some people believe that the light at the end of the tunnel, before you see the light, you must die. I love that shit. Before you see the light at the end of the tunnel is a trap. It's a trap for you to be put back into another body. Because there's only so many souls, you see. Not everybody on this planet in human form has a soul. Not everybody. And so there's lots of different theories about, and listen, I don't know exactly what happens to you, but I do know something does. Otherwise, there would not be supernatural shit. And I bear witness myself to the supernatural. And actually, and I hate to admit this, because I don't talk about it on my channel, My channel is basically a channel of rebellion, a channel of discourse, a channel of killing state. I hate the state. But I hate to talk about it. But I do see shit. A lot. A lot. It's very unnerving sometimes. And I don't want, like, talking about it because, you know, some people will believe you and some people will think you off your fucking rocker. But I see shit. Sometimes I hear shit too. I have before me, right there in front of me, a mirror. It's an old dusty mirror. I haven't cleaned it. It's just been sitting there for months. And on this mirror, in crude handwriting, the word help is written. I went through the family and asked any of them if they had been writing on the mirror. They had no reason to lie. It's not like I was going to yell at them or punish them for writing on a dusty mirror. No, they all said no. That help had to have come from somewhere. But I'm getting off the topic here. The point being is something happens to you when you die, and all the low down, nasty shit that you do to people will follow you. It will follow you. And that's probably why they force you back into a body. Because if you're an asshole, you deserve to come right back here to learn the whole fucking lesson all over again. So, you know, avoid the light, not the I don't know. Personally, I don't want to go to heaven. Personally, I don't want to go to hell. Personally, I would rather just be a spirit that can go wherever. But these people who throw you under the bus, like my old buddies, James Davis, his brother, Jonathan Davis, like Mike, who looked an awful lot like a small version of Vin Diesel. I mean, if he shaved his head completely bald and was taller, you couldn't tell the motherfuckers apart. That's how much alike he looked. Facial, anyway. These people, they go around and they fuck people over. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a saint. I have fucked people over before, but I've learned my lesson. And I don't do it anymore. If I apologize, I don't keep doing the thing I apologize for. Otherwise, the apology is empty. You see, I'm a good friend to have. I'm a friend that has your back. I'm a friend that will take a bullet for you if you're my friend. I'm one of the most loyal people you'll ever meet until you cross me. And then, after you cross me, you're fair game for whatever I decide. You see, I'm a person who enjoys delivering wrath. I enjoy it. I'm a person who enjoys vengeance. I would rather see the person pay for it in this realm than the next. That way, he gets it here, or she gets it there. Who you know can hurt you, or who you know can uplift you. And you got to be careful about the people you let around you. I spend probably more than 90% of my time alone. I mean, I have kids and my wife, but I'm not talking about them. I don't have friends because I have yet to find a person who has the same amount of loyalty, honor, and dedication as I have. So, if you're a large militia already, you have confidential informants in your midst. I don't give a shit if you say you've known the motherfucker all your life. That guy could still be a confidential informant. You're not together all the time. For all you know, this individual could be going and meeting their handlers in parking lots. That's how it happens a lot. Rarely do those confidential informants go to the police stations. They do business in parking lots and parks, anywhere but their homes and the police department. That's how this works. They don't get a paycheck, they get cash. And by the way, there's a major perk that comes with being a CI, confidential informant. You know what that is? You're nearly as protected from prosecution as the police are. That's real. And sometimes they make more money than the cops on payroll. Sometimes they get a percentage of who they take down, the proceeds from this raid. They get a percentage, and sometimes they really rack it up. Trust me, I know from experience. I've never been a confidential informant. I would admit to it if I were. I never would be, because of my understanding that whatever I do to people now, I will end up paying for. And because I fucking hate cops. And because I fucking hate the state. If you are a small militia, meaning 10 or less, do not merge with a larger militia or another one, period. Because you might have that problem. Confidential informants will get you not just busted, they could get your fucking ass killed. Don't join a militia. You know that group of friends you have right now? I would go with them guys. Actually, if push comes to shove, when shit hits the fan, I would rather go with the people I randomly meet out there than anybody I know now. And that shit's real. Because each and every one of the people I know now have the potential to throw me under the bus. Just think about it. You got this excellent fighting group together. You work fucking miracles. You're tight. Somebody in that group is compromised somewhere along the way. Gives your location, and your entire group is wiped out by that UN force we're fighting. That's true. Something you should think about. No militias. Just you and the people around you have around you now. Otherwise, you may end up in one of them gulags. I don't want that to happen to you, my dear subscribers. I really don't. I know. I'm fucking nuts. But am I? Am I nuts? I don't think so. Anyway, I made a short one this morning. Thought I'd make up for that lack of time and talk to you about that. I have so much more to talk about, but I don't think it's probably the appropriate time. I think probably it would get me locked up. Let's just leave it at that. If you like my content, please do subscribe, share, thumbs up. I could use some money. We all could. I have a PayPal link in the description box below. Any little bit helps. I hate to say it, but I've ran through my savings, and I've been looking for a job, but it's just getting worse and worse out there. I hate to say it. I hate to mention it. That's why I rarely do. Anyway, kill the state, live free.